What is up, ladies and gentlemen, nerds in the world? Fanic13 here, bringing you the Archon set build for the Wizard, and this directly relates to Via's amazing Arcana set, Arcana, and it's a very unique set and build, this Archon build. It's what it really relies on is your stacks, whether it be your Chantodo stacks or your Archon stacks. It relies on stacks, and the hardest bit about this build is starting off. So if you jump into a rift or a greater rift, or you're doing bounties, the very beginning is the hardest because you've got no stacks of any kind. And as you just saw, I'm using Blizzard to build up my Chantodo stacks, which we're going to go through all this in a moment, all the gear and the stack requirements. So you build up your Chantodo stacks, and when you get Chantodo stacks up to 20, then boom, you activate your Archon, and you've immediately got 43 stacks, I believe, because of some gear that I've got. And as you go on killing enemies and using your Archon abilities, as you can see us doing now, your stacks keep going up. Bang, 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 bang. They keep going up, and when Archon finishes, we keep our stacks. This is where it gets interesting. We keep those stacks because of an item that we have, which I'll go through in a moment as well. We keep those stacks, and if we can cast Blizzard and reactivate our Archon as soon as possible, we keep those stacks and they double up, and we do ultra damage because we've got those two stacks doubled up. So it's quite insane. And what I mean by using Blizzard to reactivate Archon, because of another item that we have, which I'll be going through, when you're casting a resource spending attack, you actually will reduce your cooldown time by 1 second, alright? So that helps us activate Archon once again as soon as possible, and we double up our stacks from our previous Archon. So that might not make sense right now, but let's switch on over to the build video now. I'm going to come and say hello, and we'll go through our gear and all of the items necessary for this. Alrighty, let's do this. Alright, let's go through our gear, our skills, and all the good stuff so you guys can do what you just saw me do. Now, our gear, self-explanatory. We need the Via's amazing Arcana set. Now, we want the helm, the shoulders, the gloves, the chest piece, the legs, and the boots. Alright, so with our helm, we definitely want the cooldown reduction gem in there. We want cooldown reduction on our shoulders and cooldown reduction on our gloves. Our amulet, you preferably want the Eye of Etlich with, obviously you get the damage reduction with Eye of Etlich, and you want intelligence, critical hit chance, critical hit damage with Eye of Etlich. I haven't got the perfect one, so I'm just using this for the time being. It's got some high quick damage, so it'll do for now. The belt over here is an absolute must-have. You must have this belt. It is for Zula's Improbable Chain, and what it does is it automatically will start you off with 43 Archon stacks when you enter Archon form, so it's a big boost to your stacks, and like I said, this is all about stacks. Our rings, definitely want Convention of Elements, but this can be swapped out for Unity depending on your survivability. If you find yourself you're struggling to survive, you can swap this out for Unity, and you can whack this. Well, you can't whack it in Canos Cube because we definitely need what's in Canos Cube at the moment. You just have to swap out Convention of Elements altogether, alright? And Halo of Arlis cannot be swapped out either. Halo of Arlis is very important. Basically, with Halo of Arlis, every time you take 10% of your life damage, which would be pretty much every time you hit, you will automatically cast Frost Nova, freezing enemies around you. And when you do that, freezing enemies around you, you will proc this bad boy here, Ancient Path and Defenders. So when this procs, every enemy that's within 25 yards will reduce our damage taken by 11%. Alright, so huge. And as Frost Nova is being procced because of Halo of Arlis, it'll just go bang, bang, bang. It'll keep proccing as long as you keep moving. Well, then we're going to reduce our damage taken by a lot. So the braces, the belt, the rings are a must. Like I said, Convention of Elements you can swap out for Unity depending on your survivability, but these bad boys here you must have, alright? You cannot swap them out for anything. Same goes for our main hand and off hand. We need Chantodo's Will, alright? So Chantodo's Will gives you 2 set bonuses. Number 1 is every second While you're in Archon form, you expel a wave of destruction, dealing 350% weapon damage to enemies within 30 yards. So this wave just goes whoosh, whoosh, and it'll damage our enemies as well as using the skills that we use. So it's just extra damage for nothing, for jam. The important thing to do here, because 350% isn't that much really, the very important thing to do is the second bonus there is every time you hit with an attack while not in Archon form, 350% weapon damage is added to the wave of destruction, stacking up to 20 times. Stacking up to 20 times. So we need to get this up to 20 stacks. You see this icon in the little corner here? This icon we need to get up to 20, and as we're hitting enemies with Blizzard, it'll keep going up until we get to 20, alright? Once we get to 20, boom, we get into Archon form and we've got that buff, that 20 stack buff of 350% damage, alright? Stacking with the other 350% damage, which we have for every second while we're in Archon form, alright? So big damage multipliers there, stacking on top of each other. It's huge. As far as gear goes, I think that's pretty much it, alright? So must-haves there, definitely want the Veer set. The amulet, like I said, is probably the only thing that you can swap out for something else. You definitely don't need Tal Rushes like I'm using. I'm just using that because I haven't got anything better at the moment. But everything else is pretty much a must-have. Otherwise, you can also swap out Convention of Elements for Unity, for survivability. But that's it, you know, this is a very gear-reliant build. Our gems will go, we definitely want Bane of the Trap. We want our Pain Enhancer here, which I haven't leveled up and still works exceptionally well. And we want Bane of the Stricken, particularly if you're doing Greater Rifts. Bane of the Stricken is a must for this. Alright, so that covers all of our gear, our gems there. Let's talk about our skills. So I'm using Blizzard with Snowbound. Basically, because I haven't got Unity, I find that slowing down my enemies with Snowbound, which reduces the arcane cost, is very effective. And I can get to 20 stacks real quick, and then bang, I get into Archon form. And Archon form is where we do all of our damage anyway. So I'm happy with this. You can easily swap it out for Arcane Torrent. If you use Arcane Torrent, then you definitely want Fulminator in your Canized Cube, but I'll get to Canized Cube in a second. I'm using Blizzard. I'm pretty happy with that. Up to you. Try Arcane Torrent if you're not happy with Blizzard. All right. I think if you don't like Blizzard, you definitely go for Arcane Torrent, depending on your playstyle. Frost Nova with Bone Chill. Archon. Now, with Archon, you can pick any rune, because part of our set bonuses is all runes will be active. Alright, so once we're in Archon form, all of these runes are active, so it doesn't really matter what you choose, just choose whatever you want. Mighty Weapon with Deflection for a bit of survivability, a bit of a boost there. Teleport for safe passage, for mobility and survivability. And Ice Armor with Crystallize. Alright, definitely want this, which goes hand in hand with Halo of Arlise. Alright, so Ice Armor with Crystallize goes hand in hand with Halo of Arlise. Our passives, we want Unstable Anomaly, we want Blur, we want Audacity, and Evocation. Definitely we want Evocation, reducing our cooldowns by 20%. Okay? So we'll get into Canized Cube. Now this one's a bit of a strange one for me. You want the Furnace as your weapon slot. I haven't got the Furnace, unfortunately. Because I'm using Blizzard, there's no point using Fulminator. If you're using Arcane Torrent, then whack in Fulminator. I'm using Blizzard, so I've just gone with Envious Blade, but you definitely want your Furnace. Definitely want Furnace. I just haven't got it yet. What can you do? Armor, the Swammy. This is a must. You cannot swap this out for anything. When you have the Swammy in here, the bonuses from Archon stacks now last for 20 seconds after Archon expires. So all of that armor boosting and all the bonuses that we get while we're in Archon form, when it deactivates, we've still got those bonuses for 20 seconds, which is a huge boost for us to build up into Archon form again. Alright, so definitely want that. Our Jewelry is another must. Obsidian Ring, you cannot swap this out for anything. It reduces the remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you hit with a resource spending attack. So make sure once Archon expires, don't activate any of these other skills because they'll enter a cooldown. Well, Frost Nova will anyway, alright? Don't use any of these skills, just keep spamming Blizzard and they'll keep reducing the cooldown reduction of Archon. Alright, so you'll get that activated quicker, and you'll be back damaging and killing shit before you know it. That covers Canonized Cube. Paragon, there's a couple important things you need to know. We need to maximize arcane power, especially if you're using Arcane Torrent. All right, otherwise you run out of Arcane, and then you won't be able to get into Archon form quick enough, and you'll just be running around with no arcane power. I could probably sub this out for more intelligence because I've got Blizzard and I don't run out of that much Arcane, but I've just left it in there for the time being. Definitely want that if you're using Arcane Torrent. Definitely get your movement speed up to 25%. Everything else goes into intelligence. Offense, we want to start with cooldown reduction, definitely. Critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and then put the rest into attack speed. Defense, we want resist all, we want armor, then life, and then lastly life regen. And utility, we want area damage, life on hit, resource cost reduction, and then gold find in that order. Alright. And that pretty much covers everything you need to know about this build and this set. If you have any questions or any comments, hit me up below. Otherwise, happy hunting. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back soon with the set dungeon. See you all again soon.